Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. Boy, is the market hot, but it's off by 0.7%. $3.21 trillion market cap, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what? Let me try to adjust this volume here and see if that's a little better. I could try to get this up some. Hope that helps here. I'm trying to get it going. I got a lot of comments on it. Bitcoin 91,700 plus, ladies and gentlemen. 3,000 plus for Ethereum. 127 billion plus market cap for Tether. Number 6 spot is 109 XRP. We're off 5.4 on the 24 hour. We're still up 62.8% on the 7-day. USDC is at a 37 billion plus market cap. Let's look at the range of price for XRP. Ranging between 107 and 117. We're sitting at the 108 mark. We'll keep an eye on it. Link 2 is the best home for private equity in the world, ladies and gentlemen. Write it down. They have the most affordable minimums, and they have the best opportunities to get private equity. This is what the wealthiest 1% of the people in the world put their money into, and you may want to click the link below and get started because these opportunities are not there forever. So make sure you do it. And I don't mind telling you, with the explosion happening here, knowing that the headwinds have turned to tailwinds for the digital asset space, imagine the level of IPOs that may be headed our way in the short term. Click the link below and check out our sponsor. Well, this is Michael Saylor being asked by Patrick Bet-David on his podcast, will you ever become pro-Ripple?
Tokenized. Could there come a time where you're pro-Ripple and maybe even to the point that you recommend clients to it? Is there a possibility?
I'm Bitcoin only, 100%. Like the truth is, I wouldn't even recommend Apple stock. Like there's no security. I'm not going to recommend
0% chance.
Yeah, like I wouldn't recommend a security because there's a counterparty to a security. But
well, hold on, Michael Saylor need to get a newspaper. XRP is not a security, Michael.
But the position is like it's if you came public and you had your own security or token or whatever you had. I wouldn't recommend you either, but it's not because I'm not in favor of your business. I just think that you have to stay in your lane, tokenized.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about that for a second here, because there's things to go over here. It's inappropriate to ask and dig further into who Satoshi is, according to Michael Saylor, because it would reveal the lie and that they don't all know who it is, which makes it a IG time scandal. So, it's interesting to me here because, if you look at this quick clip here, take a listen.
On Michael's face, Mike, you don't make a lot of facial reactions. You're typically very stoic. But in this moment, you couldn't control yourself. I want to know why. Go ahead, Rob.
You mentioned you met Satoshi in Seattle in 1993. Yes. He also came to you in a dream. You have a nice relationship with Satoshi.
I feel like I do.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a story to tell. Definitely have an opportunity to meet him back in 1993.
You mentioned...
Now, what happened previous to that? What happened after that? Is he saying 1993? Is he confusing Satoshi with Michael Jordan, who in 1993 Seattle? Is he thinking George Carlin as Satoshi, Sean Kemp, 93 during the playoff? Who is he talking about here?
Look, I like Scotty, and he came over to my house and we had a nice dinner on my yacht and we talked all about Bitcoin and it was awesome and I have the greatest respect for him. I think that the interviewer kind of asked him an unfair question and I was a little bit uncomfortable because us Bitcoin maximalists, we are very protective of Satoshi and we don't we don't like. Well, we don't talk about Satoshi other than with reverence. So,
well, you know what? Hang in there, Michael, because I got to tell you, I think you got a house built on bullshit is what you got there. And I have very significant exposure to Bitcoin. So let's keep that clear. This isn't maxi talk. Let's hear Robert Mitchnick, who used to work at Ripple and now the head of digital assets at BlackRock.
When you're engaged in that kind of education, what do you say? What is the role?
Yeah, well, we think that there's been kind of misconception that's frankly been perpetuated by a lot of crypto research and other publications characterizing Bitcoin as a risk-on asset. Bitcoin is very clearly a risky asset, right? It's volatile, it's relatively new and unproven still. For a long time, it's faced regulatory uncertainty, but that's a different concept from being risk-on, which implies that you're supposed to correlate and go up and down with equities. Fundamentally, the risks and return drivers of Bitcoin are very different from what they are of equities and most other so-called risk-on assets. And understanding that distinction is absolutely critical for most institutional investors and for wealth advisors, because it totally changes the role that it can play in a portfolio. If it is uncorrelated, which fundamentally kind of suggests it is, that's where you get this potential for it as a diversifier and even as a potential hedge against some of the macro risks that exist, some of the U.S. fiscal sustainability concerns around the world, fears of inflation, monetary debasement, et cetera.
There you have it. So now we're not done with you yet now. Stay with me now. Again, this is not maxi talk, but we continue to see large positions taken like Mara Holdings to raise $1 billion at 0% interest to buy more Bitcoin after an initial $750 million offer was oversubscribed. So let's take a look at this. NASDAQ plans to list options on BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF today. You know, this is the stuff here that gets me excited as well. Look, again, I have huge, significant exposure to it, but I have to, as an adult, look at the pros and cons. What is wrong with this? Where are the questions that still remain? With this, Ethereum, Ripple, the company is a private holder of private equity, and XRP is a digital asset. So I have to do due diligence here. I have to explain to my family why I've taken these positions. And what is this coveted, we just don't talk about Satoshi? Hey, fella, this ain't Fight Club. This is my money, right? So when I'm looking at this and I see Trump's tax plan of no capital gains tax on crypto assets issued by U.S. companies is bad news for Ethereum and others who issued their crypto assets outside the U.S. when it comes to having an edge in the U.S. market. This is also strong proof Trump is not involved in the ETHgate conspiracy. I'd like to also add this fun question here, and I want you to think of this for a moment. Trump team has suggested U.S. crypto companies and tokens may not be subject to capital gains. If that happens, where would Bitcoin fall? Remember, we're not supposed to know where Satoshi's from, but we've all heard the special agent Rana Sayad from the Department of Homeland Security stand in front of the SEC and the CFTC and all the other respective agencies and say that they interviewed the 4 people that are Satoshi in California. We also know the SHA-256 algorithm used at the core of Bitcoin is patented by the NSA, but the white paper says it's a libertarian movement. Okay, like I said, full disclosure, this is not maxi talk. I have a ton of exposure to Bitcoin. This is an adult asking the full questions about my assets that I'm invested in, and you should be too. You know, what happens to Bitcoin if they do this plan to make no capital gains? If we're not supposed to know where Bitcoin came from, then how can we determine where it sits with 0 capital gains or not? Feel me? Rumors that President Trump is considering an executive order for strategic Bitcoin reserve ASAP. Well, you know what? I'm all for it. As I said, I have significant exposure to it. But here's where I want to leave you with this. Think of this for a moment now. Understanding that Special Agent Rana Sayad from the Department of Homeland Security has revealed they know exactly who the 4 people are that are Satoshi, and they were in California when she interviewed them. Now, what I find very, very interesting about all of this is that if we see a bill pass for a Bitcoin reserve, which I hope we do because it could help the government and it certainly help all of us that hold it already, here's what I'll say. If that's the reason, this will be the reason that they're ignoring who the Satoshi is, right? Because they knew back in 2009 when the white paper came out and before from the last crisis and collapse that the next financial crisis wouldn't be a real estate crisis. It would be a monetary crisis and a change of the monetary system. Think of this for a moment. We're currently in Keynesian economics. Now, I'm not an economist, okay? Trust me on that one. But what I can say is currently right now, We have a Keynesian economic system, which is a debt-based system. Austrian economic system is based on collateral, right? So you have to actually put something up to be able to borrow something back. Now, whether that's with a traditional lender or a DeFi that we're moving into, that's the Austrian economic model. Now, think of it. Everyone can buy Bitcoin. Now, everybody can buy gold too, but this is a great way to keep retail off of gold and get them to have this new shiny thing that goes up much faster than gold does, right? Could this be a financial band-aid to help us through the transition of the monetary system as we move away from a debt-based system to a multipolar asset-backed system? That is the true question right there. Now, let's move very quickly here. Trump Media and Technology Group, which operate True Social, is nearing an all-stock deal to purchase the platform Bakkt that was put there by ICE, the Intercontinental Exchange that also owns the New York Stock Exchange. Keep your head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. Trump buying back the crypto exchange with only 16 coins, and guess what? XRP's in that bundle of the 16. And don't forget right here, Ripple's new stablecoin advisor, Sheila Bair, twice named Forbes magazine as the second most powerful woman in the world. She perhaps best known as chair of the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation from 2006 to 2011, and now she's the advisor for the Real USD for Ripple. Come on in. And don't forget this right here.
Do I think there's going to be another black swan? Of course, 100%. I just don't know exactly what it is. The only one that's going to be an interesting one to watch, and I don't even know how he calls a black swan, because I feel like black swan by definition can't really be, it's like predicted. Oh, didn't see that happening.
Yeah.
The U.S. government is going after Tether. That is clear to me. I view Tether as a very important part of the ecosystem.
Exactly, and I do too. But I have to wonder, where is all of this going? Because Tether feels like a government operation, whether it started that way or not. Bitcoin, if it's adopted as a Bitcoin strategic reserve, will confirm to me personally, in my opinion, that it is, in fact, a government operation as well to help us through this transitional period. I can't wait to find out if that goes through as Bitcoin being a reserve, because if it does, I'd also watch out for other digital assets to be added as a reserve as well, you know, like XRP and others. Ripple accelerates their stablecoin launch with RLUSD transfers to unknown Ethereum wallets. This is getting exciting, and I want to remind everybody quickly here, look at the leaders and the kind of people that are on the board here. You know, Sheila Bair being one of them, Anna Manuel, right? You know, Rosie Rios, the 43rd treasurer, Michael Warren, who used to be a presidential economic advisor. You know, ask yourself, Sandy O'Connor, right? You know, ask yourself if these are the kind of people that would have an illustrious career like that and then go work at some failed startup. I think the answer is no. This is getting very good, ladies and gentlemen, very good at my house. And again, one factor XRP could see more upside action is due to coming release of RLUSD, which complements XRP. And I say this is spot on by Mr. Mann. Because if you think of this, really look at what USDT has done for Bitcoin. And then look at what USDC has done for Ethereum. Watch out, ladies and gentlemen, because we're getting ready to get the real USD and legislation in the United States. Eggrag Crypto says XRP can hit $8 to $17 if the market dominance reaches 10% to 20% of Ripple CEO's projected $5 trillion crypto market, possibly by the end of this year. Well, we're at 3.21, and we've already added $1 trillion just since the election. Head on a swivel, ladies and gentlemen. It's getting good out here. Not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. I'll catch all of you on the next one.